Look at me today. I look like I don't know what I look like, but you're just going to have to bear with me. I've got 2 coats on, a scarf and 2 hats. So I need to reverse that trailer there into that bay of beet there to put the Valtra that's on the trailer onto the beet chopper for Roy to bring the Keenan down with the case, to load it with the Merlot. It's all very exciting. So beet chopping is really loud. It's really loud. Like if you're up the yard and someone turns that on, people think that you've literally crashed. So we first got into beet as a substitute for silage when we were running low one year, really low. And we ended up getting it in just to bolster like the feed out because we literally were running out. I would like the effect that it had on the cattle. And for sheep, it literally is like feeding chocolate to kids. It is a really good energy source for them and just keeps their energy up. So I've just moved the sheep feeder over, slightly nearer to the gate. So actually, I don't need to open the gates because I can just boom over the top of it with the Merlot, which is just great. The beet has just finished crushing. As you can hear, the machine it's still going, but there's nothing coming through. So why are we feeding squashed beet now to the sheep? Roy's just going to bring some round. So it's probably about maybe 5 to 6 weeks before all of them are due, and the earlier ones maybe a month away. And just in this late pregnancy, it takes up the most energy from the sheep. And as well, the lambs are getting big and there's a lack of space for the rumen in there anyway. So any food that you do give them has got to be high energy. So by feeding something so energy dense like beet along with silage and then the Mega Start bucket, that means that the sheep are not having to eat into their own reserves, which then leads to things like twin lamb. We're up mucking out the sheds now. I know it's late, we had a really late start this morning. We're actually just mucking out straight into the muck spreader because there's quite a bit to do. So that is like the high energy intake. When we had the problem with twin lamb a couple of years ago is when we started using the Mega Start buckets, and also it's when we started buying in liquid molasses. So the liquid molasses just gives the energy up. It literally is sugar, that's what it is. It is like feeding sweeties to them, and they absolutely love it and they go at it. So the Mega Start buckets have more minerals and things in, so they go towards stuff like a healthier lambing weight, more vigor in your lambs. It's a bit more technical than just straight molasses. But if you were to feed them just silage, and let's be perfectly honest with our silage right now, it's mediocre, it's not dairy cow silage. They couldn't physically eat enough silage to get the high energy that they need, so they didn't eat into their own fat reserves. So that's why we're having to give them something extra on top of that. Hence why we give them a lot of added stuff, like the beet, like the molasses, and like the Mega Start buckets. So all that is very dependent on the quality of your land and the quality of your silage and how mineral deficient you are. We are very mineral deficient here. I've said it and I will say it again, so it is a personal choice. Other places aren't necessarily as bad as we are and they wouldn't need to do what we do. But it isn't just being excessive. We have had the problems in the past, mostly with cattle, and we're applying that to sheep. We have been in the position where we are losing upwards of 10% of calves a year, which is a horrible position to be in, and you feel like an absolute failure. So that's why we're not just trying to fight fires, we're trying to stop them in the first place before they happen. Sorry, I'm keeping an eye out for like Roy and the bobcat, the cows escaping, like I'm not looking at you at all. Bobcat tyres still going down. I think we've noticed it more because we have been lifting a lot of heavy stuff. We've been lifting a lot of pallets with stuff on and concrete troughs and God knows what panels. So yeah, need to sort that. Monday, someone remind me, need to sort the bobcat tyre. Lie down, good girl, lie down. Yeah.
Led by fascination, we are the superhuman, indestructible, wild party animals. Horizon is changing, new world rearranging. This fear.
Nah, none are heavy enough. Well, 2 or 3 are heavy enough, but not enough to take to the auction, so we'll just leave it, stick a bit more silage in. We knew they were light lambs. Look at this, I'm getting so much better at not spilling schnackarella. That was just a little tiny spill, Oh wow, that's heavy. How am I going to get that up there now?
With your foot.
Like that. Get down off there, you'll fall. Oh, no children on quad bikes. It's against the law.
I'm not a child, I'm a bucket.
No, you're not. No, honestly. No children on quad bikes. No children on machinery at all. You're not even allowed on a tractor, on a passenger seat of a tractor until you're 12 years old. That's the law. Well, I know you're 11, but that's not the point. You still can't do it. We are law-abiding citizens. We adhere to the rules.
We'll lead them out into greatness. I just wanna be myself for a day. Follow me and no one else.
So as you can see, the hard standing area is an absolute success. It has avoided me having to go in the fields. It has also avoided the sheep standing knee deep in mud around feeders, getting sore feet. I think I will I'll push all that to the side, let them eat up what's in there, and then just have a scrape, to be honest, with a bucket. And it's that easy.
Snack.
Snackarella. Mostly colostrum quality is what I'm going for with these, so that when the lambs get that first colostrum, which is really, really important to them. It's really weird you're videoing me. Don't know whether I'm telling you or I'm telling the camera. So when the lambs are born, colostrum is the most important thing. As with any calf or lamb, it is literally a race between the good bacteria and the bad bacteria. Did you see me switch it on like that? It's like a race between the good bacteria and the bad bacteria to get into the stomach, and whichever one gets theirs first is literally the one that makes a difference. So if you have good quality colostrum and you get it into the lamb or the calf fast, it has a better chance of survival in general, and it has more immunity, because calves and lambs are born with little to no immune system. So it's really important that they're in a clean environment, that they get good quality, good bugs in the belly, which is the colostrum from the yow. And in that case, when you're thinking about it like that, giving them this, yes, it's a cost now, but they end up having better quality colostrum, which is that first milk, because Anna's looking really confused. The first milk that a sheep has or a cow has, it's called colostrum, and it's not like normal milk. It's like really thick, like nutrient rich, kind of creamy. You won't want to drink it. It's really yellow.
Sloppy poo.
No, it's like, what can I describe? It's like the first milk. Babies have it as well. It's really important. It literally builds immunity.
Look.
Oh yeah, they're greedy like. Hello, you. What are you doing? Don't escape. Snack addict.
It's another.
Snack addicts.
Hey.
Don't escape.
Oh.
Someone once told me that feeding liquid molasses increased your risk of prolapses. Now, I don't know how true that is, but we get 1 or 2 a year anyway, to be perfectly honest, but it's not had an increase in prolapses since we've been using it. I can honestly tell you that. Massive apologies to anybody who was offended by my last video with my song with a swear word in. I was in a rush and I actually didn't listen to it, to be perfectly honest. And as I'd used it the day before, I must have cut it out accidentally without realising I'd done it because I just didn't listen to it. But yeah, I will make sure there's no swear words. I'm very sorry. Thank God you don't all meet me in real life. So it's late on and me and Roy are just having a little scout around. We were going to bring all the cubicles over today, but we ended up doing sheep jobs, spreading some muck, and my mum and dad ended up coming, so it ended up going a bit to pot, to be perfectly honest. But 'tis Sunday, 'tis Sunday. So where are we up to in the shed? Let me show you. No work has been done in the shed today. And we're actually having, believe it or not, a week off from the shed. So we're having a week off because we are TB testing on Tuesday, I think it is. And we also have a young lad coming on work experience this week. And to be honest, the guys have been pulling like 14, 15 hour days. We're not having a week off from the shed. We're just having a week with no workmen here. So we will end up getting the cubicles in. But yeah, they definitely needed a week off because my God, have they worked hard. So things like these will be taken up and we will reuse, even though it is just ply. And to be perfectly honest, it's not brilliant, but we will reuse it. We've decided what we're going to do if I turn this way. Hold on. I'll make it a bit bigger so it's a bit easier for you to see. All along this wall here. So possibly from here on. Along there, we're going to do a bank of 10 cubicles. And this is just going to be a space behind the robots that's for shedding off. But if anything's poorly, it means that the bank of cubicles isn't in the way of possibly putting a bit of a straw bed down, which a lot of people have suggested. Whilst it is very tempting to fire panels in like a hero at this end, it has been very, very helpful that we've just been able to drive in and out of this side of the shed. So yes, it might look silly, but there's always been a reason for it. So this one here only really went in because we were concreting up to it. We took 1,000 mil panels out and put 1200s in, which is the cladding's just going to come to just below it, which is absolutely brilliant. We did not want a gap, no gaps. So the other night when I went to the awards for NMR, the winner of the overall award was none other than Robert and Lorraine Hunter. They live in Scotland and we've met them before. They've been here. They are very kindly advising us alongside other people about Jersey cows in general because they are so knowledgeable. And he came and said what a good job we were doing with the shed, and we were talking about like simple things like the fall on all of the robots. Roy said he's not paid the electric. He just knocked the plug out. So if you look here, that falls that way, that falls that way, that falls that way. Likewise on the other side there, you can't really see. This here falls that way, this here falls that way, that there falls that way. So everything is directed into the channels. This is not a flat space. How Gary and Dean's minds work to be able to pull something like that off, I do not know, but now I've seen it, it is just crazy wonderful. Like honestly, it's so good. If you stand here and look, you can clearly see the fall on both of these. Obviously, that was all down to my good floating. So these are the robot rooms that we were talking about. People didn't quite understand what I meant when I said robot rooms. So the robots are going to sit here in front, and you will not be able to get in them other than from the door. So in here we've got drains, little eco drain, a couple of drains there. These are pipes for the actual robot. There's drainage for the robot, and then there's electricity and all sorts of stuff that come up here. This is a sump that will sit underneath the robot and all waste will fall into there. They are also piped into, need sweeping out, but piped into these channels here. This one's slightly bigger because it has the mothership in it, whatever the hell it's called, the brain, the computer, I don't know what you want to call it. But obviously that's all beautifully sloped down to here. So someone was joking about my clickbaity thumbnail the other day, saying that I'd ruined the concrete. Let me just I know it was a bit OTT, but let me show you what I meant, because I did ruin the concrete. So the other night when I was doing concreting on my own because it was far too wet, I did this side. Sorry, I can walk on it now. I did this side here and was so proud of myself. It was literally perfect. Absolutely wonderful. That there is just me making the front smooth, so it's absolutely fine. And then I came over to this side and the wind had started blowing across from over here and drying it out. Well, it's not up to the standard that what we would want for the shed. But never mind, there are mattresses going on top of this. It is not the end of the world. But yeah, I wasn't particularly happy about what I'd done, to be honest. I'd made a bit of a balls up when everyone else had done it so perfectly. I felt a bit let down, to be fair. But you know, it's not the end of the world. The mattresses will cover it. But in terms of workmanship, when you look at these ones, like, do you see what I mean? So yeah, the wind had started drying it and it just wasn't floating quite as perfectly as it should have been. So yeah, that was my bad mistake. So when you compare my floating to the rest of the shed, yes, I completely messed up, and to me that is as bad as driving in it, I must say. Yes, it doesn't affect the usability, but still, that's going to be there forever. Forever. I'm always going to know that I did that. So this thing here is absolutely brilliant. Lily had actually fabricated this up, and it's just a template basically that you attach to these bolts here, and it shows you precisely where the drain's meant to be and precisely where the communications line is meant to be. So this here attaches to the weighing scales, which sit underneath here and weigh the cows daily, so you'll know their daily weight, which is absolutely brilliant. Here in the corner we have the volume wash. Look at the size of this. That is a massive pipe. And here in this corner we have water, and this is communications and electricity. So we have two. Sorry, I'm shouting at you. I do this quite often. It's because I'm deaf. And on a serious note, if you ever go to the pub with me or somewhere loud, especially something like tractor pulling or whatever, I am very deaf and I can't hear you. So it's pathetic. I know. I should have hearing aids. It'd make life so much easier if I just admitted. Where do you think, with two cow brushes, where would you put them? Where would you put them? So they are from Condon Engineering. They supplied... Oh, yeah. Oh, that was sharp. Oh, my God. I'm so pathetic right now. That's sharp. Don't do that, guys. Do not tap the top of these. So Condon are the ones that have supplied cubicles. They came through male mattresses, so we ideally wanted male mattresses. We weren't quite sure on whose cubicles we were going to get. And then Ivana at Mayo had suggested... Condon, and they've been absolutely brilliant. Everything's arrived in time. It is of a very substantial quality. It's heavy, it's heavily built, which is so good. And all of the problems with flexi cubicles I've seen other people have, for instance, them spinning on themselves and stuff like that, as all have bolts through, and any of the problems that other people have vocalised as seem to have been sorted before we've got them, which is great, really great. So anyway, the cow brushes came from there as well. They are beefy, but we're not going to bring them out because someone will nick them. Where do you think you should go? Like, where would you put them? So we've got masses of loafing room. You can either have them at the ends here. Like, if you look here in this corner, you could bloody reverse an Arctic down there, couldn't you? But what about this? All of this is loafing area here, where all them tools and, well, bits of metal are. That is all loafing area. So I was thinking one here, obviously, because they're going to mess around in this area, aren't they? And then if they want to go outside, the graysway kind of starts there and goes that way. But yeah, on a serious note, the guys have worked, oh my God, incredibly hard. Like, incredibly hard. The guy, they're a different breed, aren't they, up here? They are a different breed. Could not have done it without them. Could not have done it without them. They are absolutely superb. And they've put up with me and Roy, who's putting cows through, not knowing what we're doing. And they've been really, really good sports, especially about letting me video them working as well, because not everyone would be happy about that. And I would have understood as well if they said, please don't do that. And I would have had to respect it, but they didn't. And they've let me video it and put it all over the internet. Absolutely love them to pieces. They've done so well. I can't thank them enough. So thank you very much for watching. As always, I appreciate each and every single one of you. Don't forget to like share, and if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Love you long time, and I'll see you next time.